guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, then welcome. I'm Titch92. Thank you so much for joining me today. And today's video we are talking about a 32-year-old cold case that looks like it has finally been solved. So in case you haven't heard of this, we are going to be talking about Michella Welch, and I'm gonna take you back and give you the backstory, because I don't think many people would have heard of this anyway, because it happened such a long time ago. So let's just get straight into it. So Michella Welch was a 12-year-old girl from Tacoma in Washington. She went missing on the 6th of March 1986. Michella had taken her sisters to Puget Park in Tacoma, and they had set off from home at 10 a.m. that morning. Now, Michella did leave her sisters briefly playing at the park at 11 a.m. She returned home to make them lunch, and then after this, Michella obviously returned to the park and was looking around for her sisters, who had gone to use a restroom at a local nearby business. The sisters then returned sometime later but couldn't find their sister anywhere. They did, however, find her bike and the packed lunch that Michella had prepared for them, and that was just placed on the park bench. So after this, the alarm was obviously raised by the sisters, and police were then contacted. Police began a search shortly after 3 p.m. Unfortunately, at around 11:30 p.m, a police tracking dog located Michella's body. Her body was in a makeshift fire pit, and she had been sexually assaulted, as well as having her throat cut. Now, as for the investigation, a 13-year-old classmate came forward and told detectives that he saw a man at the park lurking under the Pratt Bridge, who kept looking at girls. He was described as white, aged between 24 to 26, was around 5'9", and was skinny. He was also said to have been wearing a blue jean jacket that had holes in, blue jeans, and dirty, ripped white tennis shoes. The unidentified man that Michella was said to have been seen speaking to was described as possibly Hispanic, between the age of 25 to 35, about 5'8", with black hair, a possible mustache, and light-coloured clothing. As far as I know, no arrests were made and there were no leads. The case was broadcast as a special feature in 1989, but this didn't help anything. Police suspected that convicted child killer David Fisher was involved in the murder, but again, this also amounted to nothing. 5 months after Michella's horrific murder, 13-year-old Jennifer Bastian was abducted from Tacoma's Point Defiance Park, and her body was later found. She had been strangled to death in the woods, and she too had been sexually assaulted. For years it was believed that both girls' murders were linked, until 2016, when DNA determined that there was 2 different killers who were responsible. Now, just as it seemed that this 32-year-old cold case would never be solved, police developed a male DNA profile from crime scene evidence. Unfortunately, they didn't get a match in-state or on the national database, but they didn't give up, and in 2016 they began working with a genetic genealogist. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, and I'm sorry. If you don't know what genetic genealogy is, then here is a brief explanation. Genetic genealogy is the use of DNA testing in combination with traditional genealogical methods in order to build family trees. Obviously, when police use these methods, they take unknown DNA and match it to said family member, and then use publicly available websites in order to build a family tree. So, once they had done all this, 2 brothers were actually identified as possible suspects, and this is when police surveillance began. Detective Steve Roverly, apparently that's how you pronounce his last name according to Google. I don't know if that's correct, please don't slaughter me, but we'll work for it. Followed Gary Hartman into a restaurant where he was meeting a co-worker for coffee. Roverly said he observed Hartman using a napkin several times. Gary Hartman then crumpled up the napkin, put it into a bag, and then crumpled that bag up, and then voluntarily abandoned that bag as he left the restaurant. Detective Roverly retrieved the napkin, which was then sent off to Washington State Patrol Crime Laboratory for testing. And this is when this 32-year-old cold case was solved, because the DNA on the napkin was a match to the DNA found at the crime scene, which has obviously led to the arrest of 66-year-old man Gary Charles Hartman this month on Wednesday the 20th of June 2018, I believe, and he was charged with murder and rape in the first degree. Hartman's bond has been set at a massive $5 million. The 66-year-old man, who worked as a community specialist nurse at Western State Hospital in Lakewood, appeared in court on Monday afternoon on the 25th of June 2018 and has been set 3 more court hearings, and they are as follows: Tuesday the 10th of July 2018, Thursday the 26th of July 2018, and finally a jury hearing on Monday the 13th of August 2018. Now, obviously, I don't understand this, but he is pleading not guilty, even though police have him banged to rights. They have DNA evidence and things like that that put him at the crime scene. However, he's choosing to drag it out and has pleaded not guilty at this moment in time. Obviously, Michella's mum is said to be ecstatic over the arrest of her daughter's killer, and rightly so. She apparently told a detective that the news sent chills down her spine. I'm so glad that DNA has come so far and has helped solve this case. And I am so glad that Michella's family will finally get justice for their daughter. And they can finally put this all behind them and begin to move on with their lives fully. And on that note, that is everything I have for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. As always, I will link all of the articles I used down below. And if I can, I will also link the video below of the courtroom and what happened. Fair warning though, the sound quality is very poor for some reason. But thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, I'm sending all my love and positivity your way. Stay safe. Bye.